Hello, Delavan-Darien residents. I am Bob Crist, Superintendent of Delavan-Darien School District. I am putting together a slideshow for you in relation to our upcoming school district referendum. Uh, we have some needs in our district. Staff and I have worked extremely hard, and some of our citizens as well, over the last 10 years or so, to help improve everything that happens in our school district for our children. And I'm proud to say that we have dramatically improved all kinds of things in the district. We've added new things to benefit our children too for their future. You will see more of these in our slide presentation. The fact of the matter is that since 1992, with politicians enacting the QEO law, in 93 it was enacted, and the state determined the percent of budget increase a district would receive. So if you got 2% of an increase, it was based on your total budget from 1992. If we had $20 million and our neighboring district had $30 million and each of us got 2% of that, our neighboring district obviously then received more money the next year. Unfortunately, that has been exacerbated over the last 25 years. And so districts like us are way behind in the average revenue per child as a result of that. Our revenue per child this year is $9,440. The state average is $10,500. A neighboring district, they get $12,500 in revenue per child, but they could have had some operating cost referendums over that 25 years where Delavan-Darien has not. That's a difference. And the problem is basically our costs have outpaced our state aid. The other factor is that we have a lot of students that have needs different more than other districts. We have about 70% of our students who qualify for free and reduced lunches. We have about 16% of our students that have individual education plans. We also have our minority is now the majority, with 53% of our students representing other nationalities and races other than Caucasian. And unfortunately, we have about 6% of our students who are homeless. Research has shown for many, many years that students in any one of those categories typically need more resources to help them learn as much as they possibly can. Some students, of course, don't, but that's an overall statement from our researchers over many years. I'm proud of what we can offer in our district, and I welcome anybody to bring any child here because I think we have the proper staff to help them get educated. It took a while to get to that level, but we are. We need to continue this. We need to maintain all the programs and opportunities we've created for all of our students. We'll get to that more in our slides. So please sit back in an easy chair, take a few minutes and focus on the slide presentation. And you will be going in just 1 second. Thank you. If you have any questions too after the presentation, please don't hesitate to give me a call, send me an email. I also stay here on Mondays from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock to entertain any questions or conversations anyone would have prior to the referendum. That is April 3rd. It's during our spring break. If you're going to be leaving town, please vote early. Thank you. I also want to add for your information that by having a referendum, it's the only way left where a school district can increase their revenue per child. Our senators, state senators, and assemblymen and the governor, they provide the aid. I've appealed to them on about 6 different occasions, wrote 3 letters, 2 emails, testified at a Blue Ribbon Commission Governor Walker put together on proper funding for education, even submitted a plan that the school board could increase the revenue from 1% to 5% if it met certain criteria, which were very stringent. Well, that was talked a little bit about by the governor's advisor. Nothing really developed from that. And so here we are with a referendum. because I'm proud of our school district and what we have accomplished so far, and I want to continue that endeavor. We shouldn't have to add a whole lot of new programs or anything of that nature, but just fine tune the ones that we have in place. So with your help, we'll be able to have a fine district for several years to come. Without your help, there is no choice but to cut back on our staff and the number of classes that are offered to our students. And they deserve that. Their future might be here in the community as an entrepreneur of a business and a contributing citizen in our community. This is important. Thank you. In front of you, we have 3 pictures of items that our referendum will really help with. The top one on the left would be a culinary arts center. The one on the right is our auto shop, and the one on the bottom would be the artificial turf, football, soccer, band, and new track fields. I would like to remind you also that the referendum is the only way that we can increase our revenue per child in the school district. And as far as people in a district office and myself can find, we have never had an operational referendum as other school districts have, which might explain why we are so low in comparison with other districts around the state in revenue per child. Hello, this is Dr. Robert Crist again, Superintendent Delavan-Darien, presenting a series of slides for you in relation to our upcoming referendum. One of the first things we want to talk about is our leadership forum. Mr. Deschner did give a nice welcome at the meeting last week for everybody who attended. I got introduced. We had our agenda there, which you can see for yourself, so I won't go through that again. We'll get right into our Comet Pride, celebrating some of our accomplishments. If you've driven through downtown recently, you may have noticed a banner above our cobblestone road. It showed our state school report card with the result of 82.3 for the district. That was good enough for a mark of exceeding expectations. It was our highest score ever in the history of the state doing these report cards. It was also the highest score among county school districts. Secondly, one of 600 schools in the nation were recognized for personal finance class. 3 out of the past 16 years for a state winner in soccer or second place. And we were one of the 600 schools recognized for personal finance. We're extremely proud of that. One high school out of 600 in the whole country. And then 3 out of the past 16 years, our soccer team was either a state winner or placed second. It's a pretty good accomplishment. Our PBIS program, we got recognized again for improved programs in all of our schools. Our RTI, response to intervention, we got a silver award at the high school and bronze for the other 4 schools, so we're making a lot of progress there in our conduct. If you didn't know, we'll have 18 advanced placement classes for students to select from this coming fall. We offer those, but we alternate them 9 each year so that we can get a halfway decent number of students in each class rather than 4 to 6. That also is a little bit more fiscally sound. And there are 5 online AP classes students can take, and we offer those each year all the time. We feel also that we have been pretty good stewards of our offerings and finances, at least since I've been here. This is my 6th year. We paid off our buildings and grounds loan this past year. We are in the process of updating energy efficiency in all 6 of our buildings for education. A lot of these things are sorely needed. We replaced some boilers already. We replaced some windows. Roofing was terrible in all the buildings. We're working on those infrastructure items. It's like buying an old house that you need to look at the furnace and install air conditioning if you want it and it doesn't have it. Certainly have to look at the roof, because if that leaks, it can affect everything else. and we're in the process of almost having that project completed this coming summer. So I'm very proud of that too. Our score on the state report card rated our schools highly on achievement growth, which shows we're really making progress in the classroom. As our growth continues, our overall achievement is expected to continue to gain, which is an area where we're still a little behind other schools, but we'll get there. We had to start somewhere, and we've started in the right place, obviously. We also scored well on attendance and high school completion rates. Phoenix Middle School did exceptionally well with a mark of significantly exceeds expectations on the report cards. The school score of 85 was the highest in the county among all the traditional 6-8 middle schools. We've seen tremendous academic growth on our MAP test the past few years, and we should be proud of our middle school students and staff for the work that they have done. Data from our ACT and forward exams show we're growing our students academically. Dr. Sorby put together a presentation for the school board recently. It showed that we've got more students at or above the benchmark scores on the ACT exam. And we've grown in all 4 academic areas: reading, math, science, and social studies, regarding the number of advanced and proficient students at all grade levels taking the forward exam. That means we are shrinking our numbers in the below basic category. We still need more students in those advanced and proficient categories, but they're growing, and this is excellent. So, some other points of pride. Again, look at that banner downtown, and we also have a poster in each of our school buildings related to the exceeding expectations. We were only 0.7 of a point away from significantly exceeds expectations as a total school district mark from the report cards, which, by the way, DPI and the business that organizes the forward exam do all of the assessment and all of the grading. We have nothing to do with it other than proctor the test properly according to DPI directions. We also have the new Fab Labs. Those are quite interesting, and I would encourage you to visit the high school or Phoenix Middle School and tour that. That's where you bring something in that may be broke on a dishwasher, and you ask the teacher if they can manufacture this. The big question is, what do you want it made out of? And so it can take a picture or whatever it does. Mathematically, I don't understand it all yet myself, but it, over a period of time, then can manufacture that while you wait. My vision is probably some of these appliance places that used to stock all kinds of parts for everything, they'll probably have some of these machines. And the question for you would be, what do you want the part made out of? And then they will manufacture it right there while you wait. So the future is here. We've improved our auto program. For the first time this year in years, we offer auto shop. We still have work to do in there to get that to meet our specs the way we want it and organization, but we'll get there also. We have a choice dual language program that's totally voluntary. Parents can sign their students up to learn Spanish along with English. It's for both Spanish native kids who can't understand English and vice versa, English-speaking kids who want to learn Spanish. The goal is to have everybody graduate eventually very proficient with Spanish and English language skills, which is sought after in the job market. We also have the first one in Walworth County with the one-to-one computer program. All of our students have Chromebooks, and our staff helps them learn to use them as they're working on their various curriculum projects. Some students are allowed to take these on vacation if they're going to be gone for a period of time. they can still be in contact with their teachers, do homework, send it in, ask questions, and so forth. And it's like a long distance learning program, and we are able then to count them as present, just like a long distance learning program would. So I'm pretty proud of that also. Here's another great photo of our test score result for the whole district, 82.3. As you can see, a lot of the other surrounding districts were in the 70s and even in the mid 60s. So we're very proud of that as well. Little background information. Why do we need a facilities and operational referendum? Well, we want to sustain our programs, our staff, and our facilities. Again, our revenue limits remain the lowest in the county, $99,440 per student. State average is $10,578. That's a projected amount. We know that continued borrowing is not sustainable. We can't keep doing that. We've done a little bit to get to this level at this point in time, but that needs to be paid back. The referendum would maintain current programs and staffing. It would allow us to add programs that are in demand, such as the autos and culinary arts. A lot of our business leaders came forward with the development of our metal shop and our woodworking shop, helped us completely outfit that and refurnish the entire classroom. I'm very proud of our community and our business leaders for helping with that. We've had some business leaders in the restaurateur business come forward, and they seem to be excited that we will have culinary arts next year. And a lot of our students need this exposure because that can lead to future jobs for them if that's their area of interest. We also need some funds to update our facilities in the academic areas, particularly at the Borg Stadium. We're looking to repair some of the concrete of the main structure. And also we want to put in an artificial turf football combination soccer field, along with redoing our entire track, which we cannot host track meets on because it has so many defects in it at this point. So we wish to do that. Along with that, we want to completely update our culinary arts room, get that going, and finish up our auto shop. Both of these areas, hopefully, will have businesses again step up to the plate and help us with whatever they can in these areas. The $500,000 for the first 3 years will help defray the cost in these areas. Operational costs continue to increase. We expect about a 3% increase in our electrical costs. And while we have improved the energy efficiency of the buildings, costs continue to rise. Our transportation costs, we are in the last year of a 1.8% increase for our bus contract. Next year, we expect it to go up to 6% each of the next 3 years. Earlier this year, the expectation was around 15%, as some other districts had faced a year ago. We continue to get requirements from the Department of Public Instruction. They're mandated, but there is no money sent along with it for us to implement some of these things. We needed to get some software for the entire district so we could collect the data properly and then send it to the DPI. We didn't have that before in that manner. And we also hired a registrar to coordinate and gather all the data. Those are unfunded mandates that we needed to do. Health insurance, that increased by 8%. We changed some of the plans, so it wouldn't be quite as costly. It had been around 15, 16%. Our dental plan, it will increase by about 5%. And staff wage and fringe benefits may increase by 2.3%. I just opened an email yesterday. It actually is 2.13%. So we can change that slide. As you can see, things continue to escalate. A family health insurance plan was around $10,000 this past year. It'll be about $20,000 next year. And each employee who takes that will pay about a 20% premium on that. How do we compare to our neighbors and the state? We are a high needs district. On a percentage basis, only 2 districts out of 468 in Wisconsin have more. There's 20 extra districts in this. They're charter school districts. They're 40 extra, excuse me. Some of the things that cause us to have more need are low-income students, represent 68% of our student population, or we rank 22nd out of 448 districts. Students with special needs, 17% of our students are in that category, or we rank 62nd out of 448 districts. Minority students are 53%, but we rank 33rd out of 448 districts. Homeless, 5% of our students are homeless, and we rank 18 out of 448 districts. As you can see, when you look at the comparisons with the 448 districts, we have a lot of students in each of these categories where other districts do not. Research shows that we need more resources to help them learn as best as they can, and we don't have that. We're in the bottom third of revenue limits per pupil. We also have the second lowest tax rate in the county among school districts. The lowest is Williams Bay, which ironically has $12,500 approximately in revenue per child this year. That's because they're property rich. Financial overview, how do we compare to our neighbors and state again? You have a nice graph here that covers from in 2012 and 13 all the way to the current year. You can read that for yourself and go back to Williams Bay as an example. They're at a tax rate of $7.91, but again, their revenue per child is $12,500. So that has to do with the value of everybody's property there. We're at $8.66. Why are we proposing a referendum now? We want to meet the needs of our children, and I believe we are staffed properly and have the proper programs and opportunities to do that for every child. We want to provide staff stability, so staff will move here when they're hired, stay here, be part of the community. We want to remain competitive with all of our other districts in the area so we don't keep losing some of our students to other districts. And fiscal responsibility. We do handle our money, I believe, very well, and we do not want to keep borrowing to maintain our programs and student opportunities. And the fact of the matter is we can't do that. And we must maintain a reserve balance to go along with it. Our prior referendum of $1.25 million was non-recurring for 2 years. That expired last year. It was the second year of it. And we do not want to have a referendum every other year. That's why we have a recurring referendum coming up. The election day is Tuesday, April 3rd. Early absentee voting begins as early as March 19th. So if you're going to be out of town during that April 3rd week, please get involved in the absentee voting. Here's the official ballot. Shall the school district of Delavan-Darien, Walworth, and Rock Counties, Wisconsin be authorized to exceed the revenue limit specified in section 121.91 Wisconsin statutes by $500,000 per year beginning with the 18-19 school year through the 2021 school year for non-recurring purposes to pay for the improvement to Borg Stadium, installation of dual turf field for soccer, football, and I would add band marching too to that, the new track, and also the academic and vocational areas at the high school, including culinary arts and autos, and by $3 million beginning with the 18-19 school year for recurring purposes to pay for operating costs to maintain the district's educational programs, which I explained in earlier slides. Here's just a quick update of our operational referendum plan that we have put together. The fact sheet again on the cost rising, declining enrollment, state funding, sustaining a competitive compensation to attract and retain highly qualified staff. It's all outpaced the district's revenue, which is capped by the state's revenue limit formula. And we recognize that borrowing, as the district has done to meet operational costs, is not a sustainable solution. Here's gaps in revenue limits. If you look at the yellow line on the graph, that represents the state revenue per child. 2012, it was at that point, and it steadily increased over the years to the present school year on an upward trend. The red line represents our state aid. And you can see from 12-13, it went up, and 14-15, it went up a little bit. And then it went up for the next 2 years, 15-16 and 16-17. Those are the 2 years of our $1.25 million referendum. Then it, because that last year was the last year of it, it then went back down for 17-18. So we need to get up closer to that yellow line, which is an average state revenue limit. And even if the referendum does pass, we'll be close to it, but that yellow line will continue to increase because of all the other districts in the state of Wisconsin. And that represents the average state revenue limit. So even with the referendum passing, we would still be below the state average. But we can make that work. What happens if, although we've already cut approximately $1 million for 18-19, further reductions will be required and may result in reduction of staff, resulting in increased class sizes and elimination of programs and services, reduction in the ability to attract and retain highly qualified staff, reduction in curriculum offerings and course materials to meet higher standards and goals, reduction in some extracurricular and athletics opportunities, which, by the way, represent a pretty small part of our overall operating costs, reduction in funding for technology infrastructure and equipment upgrades, and reduction in funding for building maintenance. And the last item, as a result of our energy efficiency improvements the last 2 years, we are already seeing some savings in energy efficiency. Those proceeds automatically, by law, go to reduce the taxes related to that. So I want to share that. Also, since I've been here, we've been trying to hire people who want to work here, but also move into the district and be part of our community. If we have to keep going to referendum, though, to see if they get to stay here and have a job, makes it extremely difficult to attract and maintain that quality type of a person. So our operating cost referendum, the recurring one, the $3 million one, should eliminate that concern and provide more staff stability. What's the estimated tax impact? Well, for the first 3 years for a $100,000 property value, it would be $202 per year. Keep in mind that includes the Borg Stadium update, the artificial turf, the cement structure repair, and the track, the running track, which we can't use now for meets because it's in such bad disrepair. It also takes care of the Culinary Arts Center and a continued update of our auto shop. And there are a few other academic areas that need a little twisting here and there. Not that expensive, but we rolled it into that. So it's $202 per thousand for years 1, 2, and 3. In year 4, that drops down to $173 for a $100,000 house, or $1.73 per $1,000, and that's forever. It's not a compounding increase; it's just that. Here's a little bit of a fact sheet: tax projections. 17-18, we're at 866. Referendum passes. For the next 3 years, it would be $10.68. And after that, it drops down to $10.39 because the 3 years of the extra $500,000 drops off. And then the 1039 continues forever, and that's just part of the tax bill. Little financial overview. How do we compare to our neighbors in the state at this particular point in time? You can look at the different comparisons there. If you go to the last two items in the column on the left, the BF stands for Bigfoot and Walworth. Those are different districts, but they work together, just like Badger and Lake Geneva. It's 2 different districts in that school district. So we average those together, and that's why their amount is circled. Fact sheet again, just a quick illustration. You can see the result if your property is 150,000 or 200,000. It shows what that is, and then a per month cost. The thing that flabbergasted me was when some of our people, they like to go to get coffee, and at the coffee shop, it's about $5 a drink or so, I'm told. Hard for me to swallow. I don't drink a lot of coffee, but some people like that. So if you're looking at $17 a month or $14 a month in the top line, you forego 3 cups of coffee, you can help support, I think, a pretty good district. You can learn more by going to our website. All of our information is there. You can use the email with the address there. All your emails, questions, and so forth, I will answer, or one of my directors. Fact sheets will be available at all schools. They also will be mailed home, and they'll be available at some community locations. Again, I'm here 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock every Monday through April 2nd. And there is another information night on Monday, March 16th at 6 o'clock at the high school. Please don't be afraid to use any of these methods to find out more about the referendum. You can also call me too. Referendum guidelines, understanding advocacy. Basically, if people want to have an advocacy committee for something like this, you need to follow these things. You can say anything you basically want to, but our fact sheet that the district put out, that is generated by taxpayer funds. You can use it and hand that out in conjunction with another flyer your group might want to put together, but it has to remain separate. You may not stamp anything on it. You may not staple it to your own informational sheets. It's for informational. It's a fact sheet. It's funded by taxpayer dollars. It cannot be defamed then in any manner. If you have any questions on that, please let me know. Any community leaders, they're key communicators, anybody who is interested in being a community leader, you can certainly get involved. And if you want to advocate for or against, you still have to follow the same policies. And I guess that's really about it. Questions and answers? Give me a call, send me an email. I will answer everyone. Thank you for listening to this. You may replay it for anybody that you wish. It's all factual, and hopefully it generates some understanding of our needs for this referendum. Without it, we will have to, for sure, cut some staff and probably some of our classes. I am not recommending cutting any programs because the needs of our kids connote that we need to have programs. If we have 50 kids that are interested in culinary arts and we cut that program, they're not going to get what they need, possibly for a future career. And it could say the same thing for any of the classes that we offer. So I don't plan recommending any program cuts. There'll be fewer opportunities. And then if you're in high school, some of the seniors would get first crack at a semester or a year-long class if they're interested in it, because they only have that opportunity, and then would go to juniors and sophomores and so forth. So we also want to continue to provide proper and quality academic programs for all of our students. Thank you very much for listening. And again, any questions, don't hesitate to give me a call.